Morning, folks. Welcome to the Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. Exciting program for you today. There's a little theme this week that I've picked up on, whether I've been watching the Pam Bondi halftime show or checking in with the Turning Point USA halftime show, or more entertainingly, watching everyone react to everything. Something I've been looking at and paying attention to in my own life. I think it's a theme that comes up as we discuss the continued fallout over the Epstein files, how people feel about ICE, all the things that are going on right now. And the theme that I have is the word loyalty. I'm going to explain all this to you, but first, hey, take a look, folks. We are live on location again. This show is becoming a global phenomenon. I mean, last week I bring you a beautiful episode from Crissy Field. Well, more accurately, Marina Green, but not the point. In front of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco during Super Bowl week. Well, now I don't know if you're watching, and I don't know if you can see the probably overexposed, washed-out palm trees behind me. But folks, I'm on an island, or a key. More exactly, I'm in Key West, ladies and gentlemen. A little chain of pieces of land that exists between Miami and Cuba, here in the temperate and lovely ocean near the Bahamas. Now, being in between Miami and Cuba is a very fascinating place to be because I've been both places, and one of the things that I've noticed is that they are the complete opposite places. They are the complete opposite place. You go to Cuba, and it's like we have passed down one incredible car in our family for 4 generations that we have refurbished and fixed, and we care about that. And then you go to Miami, and it's like, hey, I signed an OnlyFans deal for my crypto company, and because of that, I'm renting a Lambo. This is not a wholesome diagnostics of our two economic systems, nor does it take into account what we're actually currently doing to Cuba, let alone historically, with Trump basically shutting off the gas and fuel to the people there, and things are getting fucked up, and not a lot of people are talking about it. But I'm sitting here, so I think it's worth saying. Well, maybe that ties into our theme. What Americans do on the little islands. Because there is an island named Puerto Rico that it may come as news to some people, is part of the United States. Now, Jake Paul fired off a hot little tweet during the halftime show. Jake, I don't know. Now, he's a man who's stepped in it from time to time, but I don't know if he knows where he is at this point. Jake and Logan might be, and I'm going to say this with respect and care and admiration, they might be, how do I put this, brain-damaged retards? Look, and to people who have dealt with brain damage and whatever level of being divvied up, no disrespect to anybody, and no disrespect to the brothers. I've met Jake. We had a nice time, but I don't know if he's well. Here was his tweet during the halftime show, and you've probably heard about it. It's been discussed. Purposely turning off the halftime show. Let's rally together and show big corporations they can't just do whatever they want without consequences, which equals viewership for them. You are their benefit. Realize you have power. Turn off this halftime. A fake American citizen performing who publicly hates America. I can't support that. Now, Jake, of course, I think people were noting that he lives in Puerto Rico. It's a dangerous play. It's a wild play. It's a bold strategy. Now, he went back and he adjusted and he was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, like, I obviously love Puerto Rico and I've used my platform. This is a fascinating thing that people do when they've achieved fame and then they've stepped in it, is like, I have used my platform over and over again to say good things about that. Do you just mean you've spoken and you're famous and you've probably gotten paid for it and sold betting or crypto ads in the middle of using your platform to say, hey, Puerto Rico's cool if you want to move here to avoid taxes? And I'm sure it is cool if you want to move there to avoid taxes, but I would put my fucking foot in my mouth or my dick in my ass before I went after Bad Bunny if I had moved there to avoid taxes. That's just a strategic take. That's just a strategic take. But we can watch how people's opinions, politics, loyalty shifts over time. What you find out is what people are actually loyal to. He claims to use his platform to care about Puerto Rico, but the second he has a couple of fucking cocktails in him on the Super Bowl, he's ready to talk that shit and call him a fake American citizen, and by that, basically insult an entire island. Now, he said, no, I love Puerto Rico, and they're actually real citizens. What makes him not a real citizen is that he's criticizing ICE, who are people who are just doing their job, so he's actually not a real citizen because he's not being loyal. But I would simply argue that if you have loyalty to constitutional values of the United States, even if you support the overall mission that ICE is doing, if you support a strong border, which I do, and if you support deporting people, which I if they're violent criminals, I certainly do. I think there are much cleaner and better and smarter ways to fix the immigration problem that aren't just a culture war that ends up with people dead in the street. Even Trump started to realize that. Okay. And just think about what I just said. Even Trump started to realize that. Jake? That I think it's actually perfectly normal and reasonable and fine for an American citizen to be critical of ICE. Hell, I'm both. So it is that question of loyalty. Now, I think loyalty is actually one of the best qualities that a human can have. I'm a very loyal person. I am a San Jose Sharks fan till I die. Why is that? Well, I'm loyal to the Bay. I love all Bay Area teams. Why do I love the Sharks so much? Well, of course, I grew up going to all the games, but also I was 15 minutes from the stadium. There was no other shit in San Jose. It felt like it belonged to me. So for my entire life, I'm going to feel connected to that. It's going to feel important to me. It's going to feel like, oh, that's like a part of me. And I think that's good. If you just picked a new team every year you wanted to root for, because people make fun of sports fans because they're like, you're rooting for the laundry. You're rooting for the laundry. Well, there's nothing wrong with rooting for a hot, clean load. But that argument is supposed to be like, you're an idiot. You're not even paying attention to the people. You're paying attention to the laundry. It's like, no, actually, I'm paying attention and staking my claim on something that I will follow through the ups and through the downs. Loyalty is a great thing. It's why people get married. It's why I've been with the same person for a long time. Loyalty is a great thing. It's good. It's good for you. But it can be misplaced. You can put it on the wrong things. It can quickly turn into the most negative thing on the planet. The concept of loyalty as it intertwines with politics, which we've witnessed so much over the past few years, and which we're going to keep. Everyone talks about, accurately so, how Trump is divisive. It's his base instinct. It's who he is. It is not only his policies, it's how he rolls. If you want to be in his administration, you have to have ultimate loyalty. If you fuck with him, he will ride with you. It doesn't matter if your principles went against his. He's not an evangelical, but they ride with him. He rides with them. That's his only thing. It's all he cares about. But that's not the only reason that we're having a split, why we're having two halftime shows. As the new media world that we've created takes hold, and it's easy as fuck to have a voice, to have a camera, to find people. Literally, it used to take so much money, so much energy, so much buy-in, ad sponsorship dollars to do what I'm even doing now, a shitty overexposed podcast on a fucking balcony on an island chain. Now I can just bring a thing, knock it out, go get lunch. as it's easier and easier to create media, we're going to start having things like the split halftime show. Because if you make one decision that's for people, people go, I could make a bunch of money doing something else. And people in their effort to be loyal, in their effort to express themselves, to showcase their outrage, to say, I'm mad you did Bad Bunny, we're like, I'm going to go pretend that Kid Rock is good. I'm going to go pretend that Kid Rock is good and interesting, and I've always liked Kid Rock. In fact, I'm going to buy a Kid Rock shirt. Kid Rock would not be a thing if it wasn't for aggrieved individuals feeling left behind from the mainstream culture on display at the Grammys that just need someone whose music they don't really like or care about to say, fuck you. Sorry, to say, fuck them. You're right. I'm with you. That's what it is. And it's so many of these qualities in our life where your best quality can be your worst enemy. This is a tale as old as time. Read it. It's in the Bible, I'm sure. I haven't read it. That's one of my qualities. I can just vibe it out. I don't have to read it, okay? It's in there. I'm sure it is. It's got to be. Someone find the verse. Put it up. I'll get it tattooed on my anus. So Logan and Jake will pretend to have loyalty to Puerto Rico, but what they have always had loyalty to and for is their own bottom line. They left L.A. because the taxes were high and they felt like people were turning on them, or they felt like, the vibes were off, or it just wasn't. They wanted to do their own thing. They don't care about Puerto Rico. Now, I don't need to. This isn't for Puerto Ricans. They know that. But there is this kind of mass hysteria and insanity that has taken over. We're like, I thought the Bad Bunny halftime show was I thought there was a nice message in there. I was on Duolingo the whole time. No, I thought there was a nice message. It was actually an attempt to say, like, yes, obviously if you're a hard right conservative, you're going to be triggered by the fact that he's not speaking English. You're going to be triggered by the fact that there's sexy dancing. I guess you're going to be triggered by the fact that there's the depiction of immigrants' lives, I guess. All of that could potentially upset you. But if you're like kind of somewhat centrist and down the middle, you could say like, well, at the end of the day, he's saying like, we're all together, we are one, and then that's supposed to be kind of like a nice thing, and it's also supposed to like fire people up who hadn't been represented on that stage and galvanize their loyalty. Right? That was the goal. Now, if you're on the left, you have to pretend it was the greatest halftime show that has ever existed in the history of halftime shows, and it's possible, and I'm submitting this to the group, that is an overstatement too. It's possible. Something to think about, guys, as we all lose our minds. And it was one of the. I was watching it, and I was like, I was enjoying it, but I was almost having trouble fully connecting to it because in my brain turned into like a chat GPT or an AI, and I was just auto AI spewing out the headline and opinion analysis for each publication that exists because I literally knew how to write every article that was going to be written. I knew it. I didn't have to. Why even read articles when I know them? I understand the articles are in my body. Okay? It's the same as the Bible. I'm not going to read it. I get it. I understand it. Don't eat shellfish or something. I don't understand. I think it's an interesting thing, and it's something that's becoming weaponized more and more. There was an interesting article here out of the San Francisco Chronicle. U.S. military personnel being pressured to see the Melania documentary, Watchdog says. Apparently seeking to boost its box office, some U.S. military personnel have reportedly been pressured into seeing Melania, the $75 million documentary from Amazon MGM Studios about First Lady Melania Trump. The head of the watchdog group Military Religious Freedom Foundation told Business Insider in an interview that he has been swamped with complaints from military members stationed at 8 facilities around the world, upset that their commanding officers demanded that they see the film. People are scared. They were pressured to see the movie. Your military superior, that's not your shift manager at Taco Bell or Starbucks. They have complete and total control over you. Nobody that I know wanted to go except for those that did not want to get jacked up by our unit commander for not attending. I mean, this is where we're at. Now, I'm sure that's not the whole thing. It's possible these are just some extreme fucking weirdos, but using your power over military personnel to make them watch a documentary about a Russian woman. The fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even mean? Now, I will admit, okay, some of my own bias. I see this article, I click on it, I'm like, dude, what a disgrace. That is an embarrassment. That is an absolute joke. Okay, and this is one of those movies that it's an incredible piece of propaganda. People are being forced to see it. It's the whole Trump sycophancy loyalty realm. This is what it is. But it strikes me more as a moment in the turning point of the vibes of American politics. And this is something that is easy to call out and obvious, and you see it. I see it so clearly because I'm not particularly on this team. But this is a moment that happens on both sides. And this is a moment that happens to the left too. And you never know it when it's your side. Okay? As crazy as that guy looks to me, and he looks fucking crazy. This is a military unit commander who walks around wearing a MAGA hat, carrying a Bible, making military members do Bible stuff. Which, again, hey, if you're into it, that seems lovely. Hanging out with the boys, reading the good word, loading our guns, having some Gatorades out in the desert. I don't know what happens. But this is what happens when a side of the political aisle gets too comfy, too cocky, too cozy. You overstep. You lose your fucking mind. And everyone else can tell you're being a weirdo. Now, when it's your side, sometimes you're lost in it. You're lost in the sauce. Let's pretend, on the other hand, this was a documentary about Michelle Obama. Now, if it was, I think that there would have been less of a egregious push by the president himself to force everybody to see it. But I bet a lot of people, I bet you would have seen moments of all these luminaries in one place watching the documentary saying, oh, that's good. And in my opinion, I think it probably would have been done better, classier. And by someone who it wasn't their first directing debut since Me Too allegations. But that's neither here nor there in this moment. What happens is they start feeling themselves. They start pushing. They start going further and further and further and making people do things and being like, you better fucking come see this because this is good. This is important. This is an important moment in our history. And everyone's going, hey, man, you're being a fucking weirdo. And lest we forget, that is initially part of how we got Trump. Now, there's a lot of other reasons. But when you had this end of the Obama era feeling of like the Democrats will never lose and we're going to throw Hillary in, and then you know what? We got Biden in and we're just going to run an old man who's clearly failing and not tell people. And then you know what? When that doesn't work, we'll just tell you who you're going to vote for. People get a little too confident when they have power and they make mistakes because they're not part of the natural world. Trump runs his entire thing off loyalty, and it's an easy thing to jump into. We're talking about the 2 halftime shows, Turning Point USA. You got Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro's outfit is always trying to make they're always trying to do oh yeah, well the razor shaver you use is trying to make your kids gay and trans. Why don't you use ours? It's going to make your cock bigger. There's a lot of that. I actually could write copy for conservative commercials because it's like Is the cheese at the grocery store making your daughter want to grow a cock? Come on down and have our cheese. It was grown by nice white farmers who I promise did not employ any illegals unless maybe they did. But they didn't want to, and I promise that. Fireworks. There's all these ways to weaponize, capitalize, okay, and try to like harvest loyalty. But here's who it works on: the converted, the people who are losing their minds on a day-to-day basis, inundated, paying attention to politics like it is their entertainment. Their brains are so rotten, they can't sit and watch an entire film, much less a whole TikTok. Imagine even fact-checking it. All they can do is imbibe the same shit over and over and over and over again. And yeah, those people are pissed off. Wouldn't you be? You've dedicated your entire brain to listening to other people tell you why you should be mad. Yeah, I'll buy the credit card that doesn't make my kids gay or black or retarded. Yeah, I will buy that. So you can sell into that. You can sell into that, and you can mobilize the base, and you can get some fucking grassroots. But eventually, when you take power and you elevate those absolute fucking weirdos and morons, you will lose everybody. Everybody who hasn't already lost themselves. And that's how it works, folks. And you can watch people breaking their brains on a daily basis. And it's what we cover here. But again, it's not all we cover here. Life is good. Life is fun. One last little piece here before we close out our little loyalty segment. You know, Pam Bondi, she went on to talk about the Epstein, the old, why she publicly said, we've been through the files and there's actually nothing there. And then, of course, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie forced the files out. And as we've all been reading and learning about, there's stuff there. Oh, yeah. Your favorite billionaire was booking vacations with jeevacations@gmail.com. Shout out to Jeffrey, the travel planner. Perhaps one of his better angels. The downside, and we all have, and I think this is important, because we all have different sides of ourselves. We all have different sides of ourselves, and it's not always fair to just judge people by the downside. And when I look at Epstein, I see a complete person. I see a complete person on the good side. And this doesn't get covered enough. And it doesn't get covered enough. On the good side, he shared his island with a lot of friends and underprivileged children from all over the world. I promise I'm going to get to the whole thing. He enjoyed art, literature, and he helped his friends, and he helped his friends a lot. He was a loyal guy. Did you hear that, Rooster? He was a loyal guy. He was loyal to his friends. He was loyal to potentially multiple. The Rooster doesn't like him. He was loyal to potentially multiple foreign intelligence agencies. And he helped people with money laundering and tax fraud. Those are the positives. The negatives are that the literature he read was about R-wording children. The friends okay, Rooster. You just try to do a podcast and there's a rooster out. I'm trying to make a complete, okay, Rooster, a complete, yes, we understand. You liked Epstein too. You flew over from the island. I understand. We're probably not far from it. Don't interrupt me when I'm doing the negative side of it. That's literally the worst time. You are the worst co-host I've ever had. I got to get through the negative side of it. Maybe that rooster is a Mossad asset, and that's not a joke. I mean this with all seriousness. That's not a joke. No, he was obviously a horrible person. The more that we read, the worse it gets, and the more people were involved. Now, I do see, the second someone's name is in an email, they get absolutely destroyed, and there are a probably small percentage of people who are just like, hey, I heard he was, party guy, and that was kind of fun. Now, the problem is when you dig into a lot of the emails, a lot of it's very obvious, and it's worse than you thought. And knowing all that, as we review Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel's public statements in which they said, we looked at it. There are no files. There's nothing there. He acted alone. These are people who got elected really at a grassroots level, at a gut level, at an emotional level. The reason, in my opinion, okay, the argument, the positive argument for the Trump administration that you were sold during the election was he's different. He's not like the outsiders. Our government, our system, our government/business/ intertwined global system of elites is so rotten to its core. We need the guy who's crazy, the guy who says fuck it, the guy who's going to come in and tear it out. Now, I never personally believed that because what I did is I paid attention to what he said and who he was and how he's always been and how he's behaved. And silly me for doing that. But I understand the people who were sold that and the people who came in, people like Kash Patel. You want to talk about loyalty? He wrote an entire children's book about how Donald Trump is the savior of the world. He's an absolute creep and a weirdo and a freak. And I think that someone should make his other eye cross-eyed. That's what I think. It's not a threat, and he runs the FBI, so that might not have been wise. The point, where was the rooster when you need him? The point is that it was these people's entire thing. We're going to give you the truth. And that made people feel good because it was like, you know what? I know there's some rotten shit to its core, and here's how we're going to get it out. They made it an effective left-right issue. This is what we care about. It's what they don't care about. And they had a reason to do it because guess what? Biden was in there, and I didn't see any of these fucking files then, did I? Did I? Maybe I should have. Not that I some people wouldn't have been reached. I don't know if it would have made much of a difference. That's the thing. But it's particularly troubling to me that these people came in like, we are going to tell you the truth. They got in, they saw it all, and they said, nope, nothing here. And then they were forced to let a bunch of it out, and we're all going, are you fucking shitting me? Are you fucking shitting me? So Pam Bondi was asked directly why she personally shut down the child trafficking investigation into former Prince Andrew while being shown direct evidence of his crimes, evidence we've now seen. Her response, but you didn't ask Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General. Go ahead and let's just listen to this here.
The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I reclaim my time. I agree with you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped.
And if you thought that was crazy, This is crazier.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe.
Popular opinion. I'm going to defend her right now. I'm going to defend her right now because she was asked about the Epstein files, which had clear evidence of horrible behavior by a lot of the global elite, that she said there was nothing in the files and that Epstein acted alone. And so people are not happy that she said, but the Dow is doing well. The stocks are doing well. I think it's possible that she doesn't know how to read. That makes sense, because if she hadn't been able to read the files, she wouldn't know that what we're actually upset about is that there was a global network of very rich people who were making money off of crazy insider trading and stock advice and all sorts of weird financial instruments that only made them rich, that the Dow is making them richer and richer and richer as we speak. You would think, if you were like kind of smart, you'd be able to connect that. That's not going to make people feel better about the fact that those people who were rich off of asset trading and owning and insider trading and all sorts of illegal multi-government things were using their power to fucking rape kids. So you would actually usually not use that as something that's part of the defense unless you couldn't read. In which case, you wouldn't know what was in the files. Maybe she's just a fun lady who was nice to Trump that doesn't know how to read and is very confused. And that's something to consider, because if we're going to consider any of the other parts of it, well, then it doesn't look very good. It would look to me like a drastic case of misplaced loyalty. It can be your best friend. It can be your greatest quality. It can be your ugliest, most public downfall. So you should decide, folks, what do you want to be loyal to? Commit to it. Make sure you choose wisely. Here at the show, we've made a choice. We made a choice a long time ago. It was a choice that was honestly made for us, because he liked one of the clips from the show from his real Instagram account. It's true. It's true. If you missed the lore, if you missed that part of the 12 lore and why we stand for our one and only king, the GOAT, Hunty B, then you'll understand. Throw this asset up on the screen. Why we put our loyalty in the right place. It's hard to trust people in power. It's hard to trust people in politics. That's why a lot of us are sick of it. It's why I don't know if I even want to keep the show being about politics, because it's grimy, it's gross. We don't want to do this every week, but it's what's going on, and I got to bounce off something if I don't want to book guests. Well, here's what we've chosen, and we have chosen wisely. Hunty B. Our God, our King, Hunter Biden. As this tweet says, not in the Epstein files. Count it. Not in the Epstein files. As we expand, he wasn't some pedo loser that needed Epstein's help to get laid. Bro sourced his own crack and adult consenting hookers. A true American hero. A true American hero. Can we get the Star-Spangled Banner as we talk about Hunter Biden? Not everyone in this nation can fall from grace and build back up. Not everybody in this nation can be that close to power and potentially have had corrupt business dealings. I love him, but I can't say for sure. We can't say for sure. Not everyone can go through personal tragedy and fall down and go down the rabbit hole, deep down the rabbit hole, looking the devil in the eye. Having a president for a father and a hard dick with a line of crack cocaine on top of it, yeah, that's a hard pair of things. Did he act perfectly? No. Does he regret it? Yeah. Did he fix it? Also, yeah. Did he fix his teeth? Must have. They look great. What we appreciate about Hunter Biden, and I want to be clear about this, what we appreciate is not that he did crack cocaine and fucked hookers. It's that he did it consentingly, nicely, and that all those hookers, when you go back, if you investigate Hunter Biden, and they can, and they did, and they have, and they might again, you'll find one gun in the trash can and a line full of hookers who said, yeah, he was nice and he paid for the crack. And then you know what he did, and then you know what he did, and this is America to me. Like a bald eagle, he soared back. He came back from the depths. He said, nah, I'm done with that. And he started painting. He started painting. And is the painting sometimes used for money laundering? Yeah, but you know who else laundered money? Again, Epstein. And he did it like a fucking creep. And he hurt people. And that's not okay. Whatever you do, you don't hurt people, even if you're going down a demon spiral. We don't do that. Not here. Not at the Joey Show. Not with Hunty B. That's our fucking hero. And by the way, those paintings may be used for a bit of laundering, but they're fucking good. They're fucking good paintings. Yeah, I said it. I said it here. He cleaned his act up. He cares about America. He cares about hookers. And the motherfucker can paint. If he's not our Jesus Christ, who the fuck is? I'll see you next week.